Ladies and gentlemen, Big Herald News.
Hey, kia ora koutou e te whānau. Welcome back to another edition of Big Hairy News. Kia ora Chewy, kia ora Barb.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, everyone.
Very different start to the show today, whānau. If you're snoozing, if you've gone to get a cup of tea, because you're expecting Chewy to tangent for 19 minutes at the start before we get into the show, Barb's out at, what's for dinner, Barb? Barb's at a friend's house for dinner, so she's squeezing us in. Anything?
It's Malaysian. I think it's beef rendang.
So basically, whānau, we're going to get straight into this conversation with Barb because she's been gracious enough to give us 20 minutes, and then we're going to get her off to her dinner, and then we'll do all the housekeeping and tell you all the fun stuff and tell you all about the new merch, and we'll do all that kind of stuff in just a few seconds. So Barb, I thought what we might do is we might start the show tonight looking at the one news story. It's always a bit of a strange thing when you kind of look at the story that you're in, but it sort of sets up the whole capital gains tax. Now, you did promise you were going to come and talk to us about it first. I'm a bit disappointed that they've been talking about it all day. Even bloody Bomber got in ahead of us. I thought you were just on there. Sheesh. I feel like we're at the bottom of the list. That's not really fair. Anyway, just kidding. Let's jump into this one news story and have a look at the announcement. And then we want to break it down a bit with you and actually find out the whole skinny. So let's have a look. Here's one news tonight and the announcement around the capital gains tax. It has been announced today.
Roughly a year out from the election, Labor's made the big move of announcing a targeted capital gains tax policy to help fund free doctors' visits. The 28% tax will apply to the profit made when a commercial or residential property is sold. The family home, farms, KiwiSaver, shares, business assets, inheritances, and personal items like cars, boats, art, and furniture will all be exempt. The tax will only apply to gains made after the 1st of July.
Before we go, what is it? 90% of New Zealanders it won't impact? What's the number?
Yeah, 9 out of 10 New Zealanders.
So this is going to impact 1 out of 10 New Zealanders, whilst National is going to spend the next 12 months saying it's going to impact 9 out of 10 New Zealanders. That's going to be their tactic, but that's the opposite, yeah?
Oh, it started today. The lies started today, and exactly that introduction, which showed everything that it's exempt. Nicola said, "Oh, this impacts KiwiSaver. This impacts small business." So,
yeah. All right, we'll keep going on the story.
July 2027. Any gains achieved before that date will not be taxed. Labor plans to use the money it raises to pay for 3 free doctors' visits a year. So, how will it affect you and business owners? We begin with political editor Mikey Sherman.
After months, if not years, of waiting since the last election, Labor has finally...
Obviously, we've heard that this was leaked, so you had to jump to it quite quickly. Was that a genuine smile going up the corridor? Or you're like, yay, finally? Or you're like, ah, shit, I knew it could have been on the right day?
No, I was saying to Chippy, you fellas walk fast. Like, actually...
All right, we'll keep going. We do want to talk about that as well, the leak, but that's not the main focus tonight.
Labor has finally re-entered the tax debate.
We opted for a capital gains tax because it's a simple change. It brings us into line with so many other countries around the world.
But the tussle over tax here has been anything but simple.
The Australians made this decision back in the 1980s. It is time for New Zealand to take that step.
This is one advantage that we have over our Aussie cousins. Let's hold on to it.
Here's how it works. An investment property purchased for $900,000 from July 2027 later sells for $1 million. The profit, $100,000, would be taxed at 28%.
And just for clarity, because there is a slight discrepancy, the valuation on 1 July 2027, will that come from council valuation?
So the tax working group has a whole chapter on this, and you can you can elect the different valuations. So it could be QV, could be your own personal market, QV, it could be RV. You may choose the default rate. So there's an election process that the taxpayer would have to go through.
Okay, and QV is because QV basically do value every house. You just got to pay to get it. There'll be some kind of way you'll be able to get that QV data to figure it out.
Yeah, and that's the choice for people, right? They might want a higher valuation, so they pay less tax. So if they want to do that, then all the most accurate, then they would apply for a QV market value.
Because there is always that thing that RV or is that the council valuation, whichever it is, tends to be a bit under. I mean, not many houses in New Zealand sell for what the council says it's worth. So, if the council says it's worth 500, but really it's worth 700, and you sell it for 900, then you're going to be paying it on 400 rather than the 200 of actual value. So there's a way they've thought of a way around that already. I mean, I say around that, I just mean of being fair, a way of that being fair already.
Well, I mean, unless you're Christopher Luxon, right? And you bring your value down.
Very good. All right, let's keep going.
Meaning a tax revenue for the government of $28,000.
I'm saying to those mum and dad investors, do you want your kids to be able to buy their own home?
What if you're a family who needs to...
Can I just say I've seen this? This is the stupidest example of stupid examples anyone has ever offered as a rebuttal, because she basically says, what about this? And the answer is, yeah, that's exactly how it works. If you haven't seen it, Whānau, it's ridiculous what Nicola Willis says here.
Their own home.
What if you're a family who needs to move into a bigger home because you're expanding your family and you want to keep your old property and rent it out to...
So that would be become an investment property. So you're going to keep the old place buying, and so that becomes the investment property. Is that what you mean, Nicola? So now, before you didn't have an investment property when you lived there, and now you've got two properties and one of them's an investment property. Yeah, imagine what would you do there?
Rent it out to tenants. Well, you'll be hit with a capital gains tax.
Yes. So we're using the same bright line rules which John Key brought in with the same exemptions.
Every dollar raised from the tax will be ring-fenced for health, Labor offering 3 free GP visits a year.
With this new Medicard...
Did he realise he was holding it upside down? Has he had a crack so far? Just checking.
Patients and families will save money.
It's P. I'm just trying to spell it. It's spelled PRA. I don't know what that letter is. IPEW. It's the Predapew card. Very good.
And doctors' fees under a Labor government.
The policy won't be means tested, meaning everyone gets it.
3 GP visits all the time would be good. Yeah.
Capital gains tax, not required.
Not required?
No.
I'm for it. Yeah.
For it?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on capital gains?
Oh, I like capital gains tax around here.
Labor says it allows an extra 4.5 million GP visits a year on current numbers.
We don't have enough workforce. We've had issues with funding. We've had issues with sustainability. Those things need to be worked at in parallel with a policy like this.
And you're confident that's not going to overwhelm the system?
That's right, and we're backing general practice with with other investments.
Labor planned to make its big announcement later in the week.
This is the cuts at TVNZ, Chewy. This is their CG overlay now. It's just a dude holding the thing at the front like this to get it in shot.
Later in the week, but a leak to media meant a rushed release today.
If it transpires that it was deliberately released by somebody and that we find out who that person is, they won't be a member of the Labor Party anymore.
Are you looking for who that is?
No.
Are you scared of what you might find if you do investigate, or are you simply not interested?
I've been around politics a long time, and I know that sometimes things make their way out into the public domain before you are expecting, and it's how you respond to that really matters.
Hipkins' message to his caucus: get on board or get out now.
All right. Now, we're going to leave it there because we've only got you for another 10 minutes from here to get through this. So, why not farms? Why not farms? Because farms are people's residence as well as workplaces. Why? What's the rationale behind that?
So we're trying to make sure that Kiwis still invest in the productive economy.
Oh, speak to me.
Can you hear me?
Yep, got you now. Sorry, go for it.
So we're still trying to ensure that people invest in the productive economy. So the way the bright line test is, it does exempt farms, and we've just continued that same exemption.
Okay. Also, when I was hearing it, I was thinking about the 3 GP visits, ring fence for that. How did you come to that decision?
Well, ultimately, we need to make sure that, when people ask us, well, if you're going to tax us more, we want to know what you're going to spend it on. And clearly comes through so strongly over the last year, people are really concerned about the health system. even more so, we've been asking people to tell us your stories around, your GP visits and how much you're paying for them. Some of the stories are horrifying. So ultimately for us, we believe that, and Aisha used that today in her stand-up. She used the survey which said for every dollar you spend in primary healthcare, you save $10 in the tertiary healthcare system, so in hospitals, etc. So get them at the preventative stage as opposed to waiting till the condition gets so bad that they need to be hospitalised, because that costs New Zealand and costs the economy more.
We all know, I think that's a much better result for people to get to the doctor before they have to get to the A&E room. It does obviously mean more traffic to the doctors, though, which I think they were talking about in the story. It does mean that we have anecdotal stories at the moment of people having to wait 2 weeks to get to their doctor. How do we address the already apparent doctor shortage with people now, thankfully, having easier, well, not now, but if it passes, easier access to get to their GP?
Yeah, so Aisha, what was cut out of the story was she had actually not just announced the new Medicard with the free visits. She also went through a couple of initiatives that she had been working with general practice representatives, which would actually help them free up some capacity. So, for example, the government just today actually talked about AI scribe for emergency. Well, we're saying, well, you need AI scribe for general practice as well. There's facilities grants to help general practitioners grow the space that they have so they can have actually more visits. And so she's talked about the workforce, nurse practitioners, the ability for us around, graduate doctors being able to support them into getting into their first practices. So there was a whole list of different policies that she'd put out as part of this as well.
Chewy, you're okay there with your connection? You're a bit jumpy on my end. You got a question you want to get in about this?
Yeah, and then I'm going to go and restart my router because something's fucky. The big question I have is why a capital gains tax instead of like a land value tax? What was the decision-making process there?
I mean, ultimately, when I looked at different jurisdictions and the type of different taxes they had, also this is the mandate that was given to us by the party, was to look at either a wealth tax or a capital gains tax. When you look at different jurisdictions and how they apply it, most jurisdictions have a capital gains tax. They just tax it on different things. They have de minimis discounts. So we went with the capital gains tax and specifically a targeted one for property and commercial and residential, because we knew that this was simple. We knew it would shift investment from the property market into the productive economy, and that would help level some of the playing field for businesses and create jobs. Because if you look at what our current economy is made of, it's made of primary industry and a property market. We need to shift that in order to deal with our low productivity.
The other question I have is with the 3 GP visits, is that legitimately just per person you have 3? Because I think of myself, who has probably been to sort of like seen a doctor 3 times over the space of 8 years. And I know there's a lot of people that have worse health than I or a higher need than I. They're still going to get 3 and I'm going to waste 3. Is that something that's been considered?
Well, it's not wasted, because the way that the current funding of GP practices is that capitation funding, which is why also the announcement she made last week around that independent pricing authority is really important too. But ultimately, we went with the 3 frees because we had worked out basically with working with GPs, like what's the amount that we could allow for both fiscally, allow for that would actually make a meaningful difference. And this is where we've landed. We also used the health survey data as well.
I just want to play you another piece of audio from, and it speaks to the wealth tax question from 3 News. Nicola Willis comments, followed by Chloe Swarbrick. Chloe Swarbrick obviously is going to be someone who you would be in government with. No one thinks that there'll be another majority government anytime soon. So let's have a listen to what Chloe had to say and get you respond to that.
Today, they've just opened the door. And we know the door will open wider and wider in a Labour to Pāti Māori Greens coalition.
And that's exactly what Green Party co-leader Chloe Swarbrick, who was peering over the balcony, wants. a wealth tax?
To tax wealth, the wealthiest 3% in this country, which means that we can have free GP visits for all, free dentistry, free early childhood education, distributed, renewable, affordable electricity. We can protect our environment.
And in my professional opinion, a wealth tax would not be able to work unless our closest economic partner, which is Australia, moves to a wealth tax.
And that's because they call it millionaire migration or that flight, which they talk about a lot in the UK. But Craig Rennie actually did a really good podcast saying how it's a bit of a non-event because they got to run away to places that also sort of have that. So is that the main reason? It's like the millionaire migration. Is that really like when we talked? You know that I won't say us being the show, but I was like a wealth tax feels so much harder to do because it's every year and then if you haven't got the money to pay it, it's a lien against your property. And then at the end of your life, maybe there's nothing left of your property. You owe the whole property and wealth tax. And so it felt a bit clunkier rather than selling it, take that bit off, there it's done. Just any more clarity on the wealth tax versus CGT?
Yeah, it's a tax on unrealized gains, right? So you got to have the cash flow in order to pay for that. So that's ultimately what you've just said. But also the fact is most OECD jurisdictions, except for 3, don't have a CGT. There are only 6 jurisdictions across the world that have a wealth tax. Most had them in the early 1900s and most countries got rid of them because basically it got to the point where it was more expensive to enforce it than it was to actually with the money that was coming in. So that's why I say, in my professional opinion, it wouldn't work. And it's, Chloe can say you can pay for this, you can pay for that, you can pay for this with a wealth tax, but the wealth tax has to work in order to have the money to pay for that. So again, I've been in tax for over a decade now. I think 16 years. I was counting earlier today. So it has to work, and that's why we wanted the simple and targeted policy with the CGT.
Hey, thank you for your time. Last question. You're going to have some people who are going to be like, "Yep, we need this straight away. This is the idea. Bring it in, get it going sooner. Make it 40%, get it going." And then you're going to have the other end of the spectrum driving pink cars through Epsom that goes, "No one wants a capital gains tax around here." He might be right, actually. Maybe no one in Epsom does want one. That's another conversation. But then you're going to have this group in the middle that go, "I've got this rental property," and using the example TVNZ just say, if I make 100K on it, I'm now, and this is how they'll think it, I'm now losing $28,000. That's a big chunk out of that $100,000. For the people who are more like, this is not a slam dunk, I want it, I don't hate this. How do you bring them on board and speak to them about what this is going to add to the economy as Labor sees it?
So obviously the health benefits of being able to have greater access to healthcare, right? That's what Medicard is. But ultimately always goes back to $1 earned is $1 earned, whether you've earned it through selling off a property like Christopher Luxon has, or selling off your 3rd, 4th, 5th one. Or, you think about the salary and wage earner, the taxi driver, the teacher, the police officer, every dollar that they earn through their wages is taxed. And so we're just asking that, we want to even that playing field for wage and salary earners, for businesses. And we're saying this is part of it. And also the Bright Line test brought in these rules in the first place. So we're just basically saying we want to have an economy. We want people to invest in a more productive side of it. So we're saying we're trying to even that playing field.
Hey, sorry, just one more question, super quick, because I just thought about, a business makes a profit, they pay tax on that profit. But then if a business makes a loss, they claim it back. Should the event happen that a house sells for less than what it was, in other words, if that $500,000 house then sells for $450,000, so they've lost $50,000, do they get to claim that back?
Well, first of all, they don't pay tax. And second of all, they get to claim those losses, ring fence those losses against any future capital gains tax imposts.
Okay. All right. So the next house goes up by 100K. They've lost 50K. They've got a 50K credit against the appreciation on the next house. Cool.
Yes.
Hey, Barb, thank you so much for giving us some time. Look at that, just on 9:20, like we said. Thank you so much for coming in. Apologies to the whānau for not asking questions. We had Barb for a very short amount of time. Go and enjoy your Malaysian. Is that what it is tonight? You've had a long day, and thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Ka kite. Thanks, team.
All right, dude. All the best.
Cheers, Barb.
Barb was saying to us before she came on that Chris Bishop was giving her a bit of stick to because she's too casual when talking to the lefties. So I guess Bish watches. That's nice. Kia ora Bish. The Bish.
Well, maybe the Bish can come on the show and show us how it's done.
Maybe how to be formal with the Bish. That could be a segment every week. How to be formal, like pinkies out, picking the right fork. That'd be quite a funny. You know what? In the old days, it's so funny. I was watching a Jubilee show today with a young American progressive and a whole bunch of boomer, and that was, they call it the boomer Trump supporters. And this is the thing that I found interesting about watching it. The boomer Trump supporters were all very much like, oh, well done, young man. Good conversation. And when he was annihilating them, and I just had this thought, I'm like, this older generation, they're like, if I say the most offensive things to you and you say the most offensive things to me, then it's just a conversation and we disagree. The younger generation is like, if you say the most offensive things to me, and I don't mean being offended, I mean like homophobic, I mean like, you know, transphobic, I mean like racist things to me, they're like, they won't put up with it. And there was this interesting dynamic where the boomers will put up with like appalling behavior because it's just like, we're just polite no matter what. And the younger generation will be like, no, fuck that. I'm not putting up with this. It was just an interesting dynamic of how that was going. Because what I was about to say is, in the old days, you would have got the Bish on for the next 3 weeks and he would have done being formal with the Bish as a segment. And every week it would have been, which is the correct fork to use? And you would have made a big joke out of it. But that kind of feels wrong doing that now. Are you okay with your computer? Do you need to reboot and start off for a few minutes?
I am going to go and restart my router and everything. I'm not sure what's going on, but I will be back shortly.
I got a bunch
of Duncan Garner without.
I'm going to do Duncan Garner right now. That's what we're doing now. No. I've got housekeeping and stuff, bro. We're good. You go and do your stuff, Will. And I've got some super chats and yada yada yada. So there you go, Fano. Chewy's left. Have I got a dog? Oh, I don't even have a dog to have as a co-host. Why haven't I got a dog? I've got a camera down to the dog. I just don't have a dog. Right. Bunch of stuff. As I said, look, apologies. We don't normally roll quite as quickly as that for an interview. But look, see, I can't even have a co-host in there. That's no good. But you appreciate that this was leaked whenever it was leaked. RNZ was onto it from first thing in the morning. Barb will have been going since 5:30 this morning. She just did pretty much a full show with Bomber, and so she was gracious enough to give us 15. I said, can we please do 20? Because then we can have a look at the one news story together. And she said, yes. So apologies. I probably should have said it at the start. I didn't. And I apologize about that. Let's get to it. Citizen Gold says 417 days at most. Yay. Long weekends. Oh yeah. Because Monday. Happy Labor Day, Fano. Peter says Barb's is an honorary host. Yeah, that's actually how, because we had such a short amount of time. I'm like, we're not even going to do an introduction. We'll just get on and start with you there. Let's not waste any time, which is why exactly why we did that. Kiwi Bird, how much for a charity boxing match against? Oh, so funny. The poor fella. I mean, like, I was talking to someone today. I don't want to sound arrogant or anything. It's not about that, but it's like on a lot of, especially rugby league teams, they have like the munter. They have like the person who they'll send out, you know, with 20 minutes to go, and their only job is to take out the kicker. Like that's his job. And then he might get sin binned, he might get sent off, but the idea is to take out the other team's kicker to try and help them win. That's that in the realm of political conversation and political comment, that's BHN. We're the munters. And if you want some smoke, we'll give it to you. And tonight you will see how poor Duncan should walk away from this, because it's not going to look good after the show when he challenges us to prove him wrong, and we do, and he calls us lazy, and we show him the facts and the data because he didn't do the work whilst he's calling us lazy. It's kind of adorable. Peter says, would have been worried if Willis approved of it. Yeah, true, Peter. JC, long day for Barb, legend. Yep, exactly right. E. Grant Wright says, will the opposition ask how much this government has borrowed? I think they have done through this. And Kiwi Bird, a very important question. Will you debate Garner? We'll play the clip for you. He's like, have you got my number? You give me a call. Invite me on. It's like, I mean, I don't have a problem with talking to these people, but I will ask the question, why? You know, equally, you know, they do this all the time. You know, Plunkett did it last week. Well, they never gave me the right to reply. Yeah, Plunkett's never asked us to come on his show either. Garner's never asked us to come on his show either. You know, so it's like, yeah, they can blow a big game, the blowhards, but they don't actually put their money where their mouth is. What we're doing is we're doing what we've done since day one, and that's holding this government to the same standard they expected the last government to stand up for, and to the standard they set for themselves, and commentating on the commentators, commentating on the people in media who are making commentary. That's where this whole thing started. And as for Karen Plunkett, I mean, he started a big beef over the weekend when all we had done, well, I know we took the piss. I think that's the thing that hurts authoritarians so much, or people who kind of live in that world, is when you take the piss, they can't handle it. We took the piss about Duncan last week, and he responded. I'm like, you fucking idiot. Just leave it alone. It would have gone away. It hasn't gotten, now it's not going to go away, and you're going to look more foolish. Sorry, unnecessary. Hey, Fano, exciting news. If you haven't seen the store yet, check it out. The enamels are here and up and online and ready and rearing to go. The OG, the BHN OG, the Chewy Fufu. Oh, this is something new. I won't talk about this yet. The Pat, they shouldn't be there. That's right. The Pat and Chewy one, the tax work less, tax wealth more, and the fuck around find out. They are all there, ready to be looked at. Now, I was going to mention this to Barb, but I forgot. It's a very unscientific survey. This is a very unscientific research, right? Is that, I don't know, we've maybe sold 20 lots so far. And I'll tell you about what I mean by lots, because patrons have got a special deal. Literally, and when I say literally, I mean literally every single order so far of the enamels has included a tax work less enamel pin. I mean, like, you never quite know what's going to fly, but every single order so far. So a huge thanks to all of our patrons who are part of what we do. We've got a whole bunch of new patrons. My computer had to have a restart just before we came on, and I had a whole bunch of names to mention. I'll go see if I can find them again in a sec to say thanks to some specific. If I don't, I'll do it tomorrow night, because I've updated the credits as well. But as you can see on Patreon, and I'm being careful because there's a keyword that you can't see the keyword. No, you can't see the keyword. For patrons only, for patrons who are active paid patrons, there is a special deal where you buy 2 enamels and you get the 3rd for free. Now, that's a patrons only special at the moment. So if you want that deal, then you can go and become a patron. The other thing is, as of last week, we started talking about trying to hit 500 active patrons by Christmas. Again, I'm sorry, I literally rebooted the computer and came on. I'm gonna do my best guess at this. In the last week, we had 14 new patrons on, I believe. And when Chewy comes back, I will go looking for the names to make sure I can say thanks to you all. And we have about I think it's 462. So if you've liked what we've done, if you've been around for a while and you want to support what we do and you want to get on board, then a real and this is a really important part, and you can stick with us until the end of next year. The election year is going to be really important for us, and we need some certainty in knowing what we can do, go places, do debates, that sort of thing financially, which we rely on our patrons for. Now, some of our patrons in the last week or so have dropped their patronage. Like, they've come down from, I think the patron level is $15 and the fuel level is $8. And I'm like, if you're a patron right now and you can comfortably make it through the next, I guess it's 14 months, but need to drop a level to do it, that would be much more useful to us than you trying to push yourself too hard to hit the patronage you're on right now and then not be able to do it for half of next year. Because honestly, we're planning for this time next year already. And so, yeah, so we just threw an idea out last week that maybe we could try and get to 500 patrons, and if we can, we'll celebrate at Christmas. We'll celebrate anyway, but if you can, we'll celebrate at Christmas. And at the moment, as you can see on Patreon, there's a Patreon only deal, which has a code on Patreon, and it's buy 2 enamels, get the 3rd for free. So you can basically get 3 for the price of 2. And as I was saying, maybe we've sold 20 of those, maybe not quite 20, maybe 15. And a little bit of research, every single pack that we've sold has included a tax work less, tax wealth more. I've just realized on that photo I've got that twice instead of fuck around and find out. That wasn't very smart, was it? So every single one has got that in. And I think that's a little unscientific survey as to what the audience is thinking and what they are valuing at the moment. Let me also show you that this turned up today, a picture from our supplier. There was an image problem. There was an issue originally with the Nikki No Boats enamel. This is now me signing off on it. They sent me this imagery and they said, can we approve it? And so that should be here within, I think she said 7 to 9 days. So by the end of next week, the Nikki No Boats, and then we'll have the full pack of, I believe it's 6 for you to get into. So are you there, Chewie? You're going to come back in now? If you come back in, I've got something I need to do when you come back in.
I hope it's better. It doesn't seem like it.
No?
No, you're still cutting out for me, so I'm guessing I'm cutting out for you guys.
Your audio is fine. Your quality of your video is not good, but your audio is fine. Why don't you turn your video camera off and just be an icon and see if that makes a better
voice.
Yeah, just be a voice. No, not the whole thing, just the video. Holy mackerel, what are you doing? Yeah, there you go. Just turn the camera off. Is that better?
Yeah.
You can actually turn, if you turn the actual camera off, I think down on the bottom buttons where it says Chewie, I think you get a little graphic. Like if I do it, if I turn my camera off.
I need to put a graphic in, so I will find one that is appropriate.
I'm not going to touch mine because imagine if I cut out and then we were stuck like this for the rest of the night. I just pad for a second, Chewie, because I'm just going to try and find the patrons because my computer also had a shutdown and I want to go thank the new patrons.
So on the Patreon stuff, I would just say, like, I saw people going, oh, maybe I had to do some budgeting or that sort of thing. We don't want to put anybody in the hole or make things harder. Like you guys talking about the show and sharing clips around does a lot of the heavy lifting as well. But it's just whatever works well for you guys.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
don't feel like there's an obligation.
Yeah. And that's absolutely true. Oh, there you go, Chewie. Look at you, mate. Fires. It's absolutely true. We don't want to put any pressure on anybody, but we're just also going, if you've been thinking about it, if you want to have a look at it, now's a great time because if we can hit that 500 number by Christmas, and what have we got? I've just managed to get all this open again. If I go active members, what did I say? 462? 463. There you go. So I was out by 1. And let me say a huge thanks to these people because these people have signed up in the last week since we basically said kia ora about all this. Damien Ireland, which is the greatest surname in the history of the world. James Nucky, Millie Molly, Alan Law, Mrs. Edge, Kez Ryan, Bev, I'm going to go Kaweroa Mana, Jess is a mess, Al Keddy, Dean and Jill, Helen Campbell, Penia Brown, and the famous Sam Summers, host of It's in the Ballot, have all signed up in the last week or so. So thank you so much. As I said, 463. It's an arbitrary number, Whānau. We don't have to hit it, but I just thought we could put it out there. And if you're interested, good. And also, it's absolutely genuine. Actually, I actually smiled when I saw a couple of people had dropped their patronage down a layer because I'm like, oh, cool. Because that means they've gone and done the work and they've gone, actually, this might be a struggle, but I can manage the next layer. And that it's better for us. It's better for us. It's fantastic. There we go, Chewie. So weird not seeing your face there because I don't know if you're listening to me or not. Probably off doing something dodgy.
You can just use your own fertile imaginations, which is perhaps worse. Hey, I just wanted to say I've been following people's discussion online about the capital gains tax, and I must say I sort of have been all over the place on this today. My first reaction is this isn't enough. It isn't very exciting. I guess my vote with the Greens is safe. And then I had a thought. This is better than anything we have at the moment.
Yeah.
And who knows what will happen with government negotiations and that sort of thing around the election and that sort of thing. But we have to focus on the main issue. And the main issue is that this coalition cannot be the government again.
Yeah.
That is the focus. So as much as I was like going, oh, this is just boring Labour again, and they're not doing enough, everything Barb said made sense to me. This is a big chunk of what we've been asking for. Like we haven't had, like we've had them fiddle around the edges with the bright line test, which is kind of a capital gains tax, and it kind of isn't. And the money that was raised for it wasn't specifically targeted for anything. But this is something that is definitely said, look, it's going to GPs. It's going to make sure that New Zealanders can see a doctor. That is good. All of the answers that she had, it's all good stuff, and it all makes sense. We can argue about, is it good enough? Do we want a full-on wealth tax? You know, I hadn't considered what Barb's answer was for that, which was when our nearest neighbour doesn't have a wealth tax, that's a problem. It's a good answer. Maybe when their government, they can talk to their colleagues across the ditch and go, hey, maybe we should both do a wealth tax.
Well, I mean, we didn't have enough time to delve deeply into it. I was my thing was 700 million a year. And my response was, is that all? That doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a massive amount. And I did think exactly what you asked. I mean, there are lots of people. There are people who don't go to the doctors because they can't afford it. So this is great for them. There are people who don't go to the doctors because they've had a good year and they haven't been unhealthy, you know, and so they just haven't. If it wasn't ring-fenced quite as tightly to GP visits, but health, would that be a better way to spread out? Or is it really that we need to bring these policies in that are the fence at the top of the cliff, which is get to your GP when you're unwell? I guess the other thing is, what happens if you're having a bad month and you go 5 times in a year? You know, what happens there? Is there, you know what I mean? So there's still some unanswered we couldn't quite delve into, but due to time. But speaking of, I was speaking with Craig Greeny today, and he was going to come on tonight. But when I said to him, Barb's on short time solo, I'm sure we'll still be talking about this tomorrow. How about tomorrow night? He was like, yep, if it works. So we can think this over for the next 24 hours and throw all of these at Craig probably tomorrow night as well. I'm sure he'll have some thoughts or ideas or answers around them. Yeah. The other thing I was going to say, which I now can't remember, what was I going to say, Chewy? What was I going to say? Can't remember. I apologize.
Nincompoop. The other thing I'd say around the capital gains tax is look how much National is squealing about this on social media. And as Barb says, everything that Nicola has said about it has been wrong. She's putting up crazy hypotheticals or things that have already been answered and that sort of thing. Oh, you can't trust them on tax. Mate, we can't trust you guys on anything. If you want to talk about broken promises, then let's have that fucking conversation. I'll start you off. Luxon said that there'd be no cuts to the Southern Hospital.
Yeah.
Broken promise. Right, so there you go. Based on that, you can't trust National.
Well,
you can't trust this coalition.
But unfortunately, Chewy, Labour also said they're going to do all of this, and then they pulled back on the Dunedin Hospital as well, only to then go, well, we better promise it again. So does that mean we can trust them? You know? Just being real. Look, last week, people had a crack, or maybe the week before, that we were being critical of Chippy. Well, you're probably not going to like the next story very much when Chewy's been getting into government, because we're going to talk about Te Pāti Māori and Toitu Te Tiriti, and there is some shit going on there, and we don't know the details, so we have to either choose to take both sides as having some truth in this, or we have to pick a side. And at the moment, I'm not prepared to pick a side. I'm not prepared to pick Te Pāti Māori over Toitu or Toitu over Te Pāti Māori, because we're getting secondhand information. Sometimes sometimes we have to be honest and have hard conversations. Labor also pulled back and broke a promise that they had for Dunedin Hospital, and then said they would reinstate the original promise coming up to the election. So let's at least remember that, in this government game we play, I don't think there's ever been a perfect solution from any one side to give us what we actually need and want. Now, we obviously throw in with the left because they're much more in that area of us, but there's no perfect side in politics. There's no perfect party with all the perfect, other than your party, Chu, with any perfect solution for every single issue. And we got to be honest about that, and that's what we will be here. Sorry, Chu, bit of a rant there, but
no, I encourage it.
I also think it's interesting, Chewy, and we won't talk about this now because you were off. I don't know if you heard me. The patrons that all purchased enamels over the last 24 hours, in every single order, there was at least one, sometimes two, tax work less, tax wealth more pins.
Nice.
And I just think that's testament to, I guess, A, who watches, but also maybe even more importantly, B, who's prepared to support us financially. So a CGT fits in that area, but as does a wealth tax. So tax wealth more, tax work less. So, it kind of speaks a little bit to our audiences, I guess, in a good way. So yeah. All right. Let's do this now, because you were just talking about government and forming government and that kind of stuff. I don't like this story, I'm being honest with you, and it's exactly because for us sitting on the outside, it does seem muddy. We can't know exactly what's going on. Sorry, before we do that, because there's some super chats and they were pertinent to what we've just talked about. So we'll just get to these first. JC says, Chewy has entered the witness protection program. Are you going to should I change a hat every time you change an image there? Is that what we're going to do?
No, you've put me down a rabbit hole of finding the best avatar.
So just so you know, far now, Chewy's paying no attention at all to the show now. He's looking at images. Jesse says, Media Royal Rumble, PPV and Luxon thumb enamel. MXLDS says, don't let the perfect be the enemy of good. Yeah, 100%.
That's a very good thing that I've tried to keep in mind today. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, look, and we'll show you with old mate Duncan later on tonight, when you're on the right side of a conversation, you don't need to bullshit. You can be honest about the hard things when you're on the right side of the conversation. And predominantly, the left are on the right side of many, if not all, conversations. I won't say all, I won't be quite that arrogant. And that's why, say it with me, Fano, the left make policy and the right respond to policy. They respond to what the left's doing, like they're doing today, running around. Yeah, and if they weren't squealing quite so loud, I'd be more worried about what the Labour Party is suggesting, because it means they're pushing all those buttons. They're pushing them all. All right, let us get to this story. Te Pāti Māori. Now, I might have missed this, but have made calls to either suspend Kapa-Kingi or have suspended Kapa-Kingi. We're in the process of figuring that right now. Let's have a look at the story. And then we've got some a message from Eru Kapa-Kingi through his social media as well, we'll get to.
Te Pāti Māori MP Tākata Wheres has called out his own party after a bombshell vote to suspend fellow MP Mariameno Kapa-Kingi. His electorate committee now wants an immediate vote of no confidence in the party president and national executive, which includes the co-leaders. Māori Affairs correspondent Te Aniwa Hurihanganui has the latest.
Mariameno Kapa-Kingi standing united with protesters today.
Look, there's one thing that you have to say in this, and look, I think I live in a world of nuance most of the time. It's quite hard for me to say absolute black, absolute white. But these guys are either going to be right or they're going to be wrong. So the concerns being put out there by Tākata Wheres and Mariameno Kapa-Kingi are either going to be right or they're going to be wrong. It doesn't seem like they're setting it up here for much nuance. And I'll say it again, I don't think we can possibly know who is right and who is wrong yet. So it means that we have to be a little bit of a watcher from the sideline to see what happens. And and we talked about this 2 weeks ago, I think, or a week ago. And obviously, we're not talking it literal because Eru Kapa-Kingi, for example, is a young man, but it's like mum and dad are fighting. It's like your two best friends are in a fight, and it's like, what do we do? What do we do here, guys? What do we do? They're all fighting. Stop fighting. But we can't do much other than watch. Now, Chewy, because I can't see your face, you want me to hit play? Or do you want anything to say to that before we go?
No, play on.
Despite deepening divisions within her own party. Te Tai Tonga's Takuta Ferris making it clear where he stands.
Yeah, because with Takuta coming in as well, this is not just Kapa-Kingi, MP Kapa-Kingi, kind of from the sideline. There's more than one MP within Te Pāti Māori singing from the same sort of song sheet, which means they're either going to be right or they're going to be wrong. And both of those outcomes aren't good.
My understanding is he abstained from the vote to suspend.
I think they do say that in this. Should we keep going and see what they say?
Yeah, sure thing.
Meno has held herself well. She has shown great restraint. She has restrained others from taking action at times.
But that's not the view of the party's National Council at a meeting last week, moving a motion alleging Kapa-Kingi has seriously breached the party's constitution and voted to suspend her.
Well, to me, it holds no mana because the process that has been employed to arrive at the decision, it lacks integrity. It lacks any semblance of the kaupapa that a party is underpinned by.
Representatives from Te Tai Tonga abstained from the vote and are calling for an immediate vote of no confidence in party president John Tamihere, who declined to speak to One News, as well as the national executive, which includes co-leaders Rawiri Waititi and Debbie Ngarewa-Paka.
We aren't happy with the leadership. We aren't happy with the conduct. We think that it needs a full and open discussion, and that's being withheld, and so we don't agree with that.
Ko tāko e mana, hara mai ki te hui ātau. Whakatakotoria wo kōrero. Me he mea koina huki te hihia te Tai Tonga. He ara ka i roto i te kawa. O te Pāti Māori.
Meanwhile, in a letter obtained by One News, Te Tai Tokerau claim it wasn't even invited to the meeting.
I don't know why they wouldn't have been invited other than they were being talked and voted against.
Today, Mariameno's son, Eru Kapa-Kingi, announced on social media his family is taking legal action, saying the party executive is refusing to engage in tikanga or comply with its own constitution.
Kei te reset tonu tātou. Waiho mātou te Pāti Māori te whakatika ia mātou anō.
Mariameno Kapa-Kingi declined an interview but told One News last night that the party continues to prove the point of dysfunction.
The MP marching on in the face of growing scrutiny. Te aniwa hurihanga nui, One News.
So there you go. Yeah, I mean, Chewy, I mean, we can show some of Eru's comments shortly, but your first response to what you've heard, you've definitely got like two MPs in one camp. And you can't say all the MPs in the other because they'd all have to be, I guess, polled to see where they sit. But it's not just like it's more than just a random person on the outskirts who was caught in trouble. This is bigger than that, even though we can't understand exactly what it is yet.
Yeah, so I think every party has something like this eventually. And look, they've had a hell of a year. There's been a lot going on. I think Te Pāti Māori is an integral part of Parliament. They need to be there. But when this is happening, I think I saw it scroll past in the chat, someone says fighting or infighting kills momentum.
Yeah.
And I think that's my big concern here, is that we do have a couple of different camps in the movement at the moment, and it'd be great to just disinfect this whole thing and keep on mission. I make no bones about it. I have always thought that the weakest part of Pāti Māori is John Tamihere. So yeah, I do have some sympathy there when people are pointing at the president and going, well, maybe this is the problem. But then we've got Rawiri very clearly saying that that's not the issue and there's other issues at hand. we always want something like this to be transparent, to give confidence in the party. I don't think there's enough to go on here. Like, we've got someone being accused of almost financial mismanagement, and then we've got a family member of that person with a very powerful movement to the side of Te Pāti Māori that should be complementary to Te Pāti Māori. They should be pulling in the same direction. And at the moment, they're at loggerheads with each other. It's not good.
Yeah. Maybe we should have a look at Eru's commentary. I know he was on, I think, Instagram. It was a bit of a longer post, but I think he's done a synopsis of it on his Facebook page. So let's just go and have a look at what he had to say. This is Eru's post. I've really tried to stay on the high ground through all of this and not make it overly personal. Here I know these Māori Party dirty political games have truly crossed the line in now involving our babies. False information the party executive sent to social media channels has emboldened further attacks on our whānau. And there is now a video circulating of my nieces and nephews online wrongly stating they were illegally on their own whenua. So let me just unpack that slightly, because I was a bit like, what is it? I understand, because I thought, I should go have a look at Te Pāti Māori's social medias. Something that's been said on Te Pāti Māori's social media, the way Eru's saying it, has emboldened someone else, like some rando public person, to put this video of nieces and nephews and make some claim on it. So what he's claiming is that Te Pāti Māori, what they've said, have caused this other person to put something online about their children. That's how I read that. I think that's what it is. He goes on to say, Mokopuna decisions, you reckon? No. You can't. You can run me down all you like. Even my mum, do not bring our babies into this. He goes on to say the problem, I want to also clarify, the problem is not the whole of the Māori Party. The toxic decision making has been by the executive body, president and secretary, and the two leaders. Changes need to be pushed and directed at that level. When I looked at it this afternoon, there was maybe 40 comments, and I went and had a look through them. Most of them, obviously, complete support, but handful, maybe 1 in 5, 1 in 4, 1 in 3, not sure, saying this needs to be happening on the marae. This shouldn't be happening out in public like this. This should be happening behind closed doors. You know, what this is doing to the movement and what this is giving the opposition. Now, I'm not commenting on that. Whether maybe it has, maybe what we don't know is this has been going on for months behind the scenes, and this is where they're at. Don't know. But that's sort of the two sides. And it probably comes down to whatever happened, and I think it's around $130,000, the overspend by Kapa-Kingi. We don't know the details of that. That's not a rounding error, whether that's true or false or accurate or inaccurate or spun or however that looks. But yeah, I mean, like, this is one of these things, like I said, it's like your two mates are having a scrap and they don't want to be in the same room anymore. So how are you going to have your birthday party? Because my two best mates don't want to be in the same room. So either neither of them come, or I have to pick between them, you know, and that's sort of how it feels. And without all the information, I've sent a message to Eru. I don't know if I've got Eru's contacts anymore. We've had him on once before, but yeah, he hasn't responded. So either they're not responding, or I don't have his details anymore, because it would be great. And I just want to state publicly from my seat, Chewy, you can speak for himself, I'm fully behind the kaupapa of Toitu Te Tiriti. But I'm also fully behind the kaupapa and the ideals of Te Pāti Māori, and that's why it feels. And before everyone jumps up and down about it, I've never voted for Te Pāti Māori, but you know, the idea of having them there and the idea of their representation, I am for. I am, yes, for. Like Chewy, I know people that have not wanted to get involved with Te Pāti Māori because of John Tamihere's involvement. I know a little bit about John. I sold him a house. I haven't found him to be anything other than a consummate businessman, like 100%. But I guess you're always in these kinds of situations, especially one where someone involved as a former talkback host, a former Labour Party minister, all these things, there's always going to be, and I don't mean haters like, we use the word haters like you're wrong, like, oh, you're a hater, but there's always going to be people who are rubbed up the wrong way. Again, I don't know whether he's the best person for the job or not. These are just things that are around. Shall we?
Yeah. Look, I've been reading a lot of comments around this when it pops up on social media, and I think the thing that was sort of hammered home for me is that there are a lot of opinions in the Māori space because it is their party, and I guess I'm putting more weight on the people that are saying, you know, as you said, this should be sorted out on a marae. We need to stick to our tikanga. We need to stick to our first principles and that sort of thing. And I'm concerned that I'm looking on it with, you know, standard sort of eyes that I look on every party, and it's not the same. They're not going to operate to the same rules as National or Labour or even the Greens and that sort of thing. They will do things in a Māori way, and maybe that is what we are seeing a little bit as well, is that we're seeing the clash of something trying to operate within parliamentary rules, trying to operate in the Māori space as well. Yeah, it's interesting, but there are certainly a lot of comments from Māori of going, whatever is going on, guys, can you sort it out quick? Because we want to get back to what we were doing. We want to get that momentum we had, like immediately post Hikoi going into Treaty Principles Bill and that, because at that point, both organisations, Toitu and Te Pāti Māori, were operating, firing on all cylinders, and it was something to behold. So I hope everybody can sort of at some point grasp hold of what that felt like and get back to it. I don't know what the answer is here. I don't know what side to fall on, and all I'm coming back on is like, I've never really liked John Tamahere. I feel like he's a little bit too combustible, a little bit too unpredictable. But yeah, that's not to say one side is wrong and the other is right.
Yeah, we have no idea. Like, honestly, we have no idea. And the thing from sitting on the outside looking in, you've got, you know, MPs and Te Pāti Māori people on one side saying this, you've got MPs and Te Pāti Māori people on the side saying this. And sometimes you can make a call based on the evidence before you, but the evidence before us at the moment is, I'm not even sure what the evidence is, because all we're basically being told is that the processes aren't following the kaupapa. I mean, that's nothing that we're going to see in the newspaper anyway. You know, newspaper. We're being told that the leadership style is toxic. Again, we don't see that. What we see is if this policy had have been promised and not done. We can measure that. You can't quite measure the original kaupapa versus the kaupapa of Te Pāti Māori today and how it's being implemented. We don't know that. It's only the inner workings that know that, and that's probably why it feels a bit like, what's happening, sort of thing. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and it sort of reminds me, you remember when Green Party was having its leadership stuff?
Yep.
And the media was just jumping onto it and going, oh, there's ructions in the fucking Green Party, it's all falling apart. And the Greens were just going the whole time of going, no, we're just following our processes. The membership wanted a vote on the leaders, so we did a vote on the leaders, and now we have an answer. You know, the media is always going to jump on blood on the water. And I guess that's what I'm trying very hard not to do.
Yeah.
Is I just want to listen, well, we're talking about a Māori party and a Māori movement and the personalities within those two groups. You know what? I'm going to listen to Māori in this space.
Yeah, but that's the problem, isn't it? You got Māori here and Māori here.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So yeah, if someone could just tell me what to think, that'd be real good.
A couple of super chats that have come in. If I can go back to my super chats, here they are. First time that's people jump on it. First time in Chewy's life he has ever said, "Can someone else please make up my mind for me?" So you'll never get it again from Chewy. So get in there. Reese says, "Agree with me 9 out of 12 times. Vote for me. Agree with me 12 out of 13 times. See a psychiatrist." That's how I approach supporting political parties. We can't agree all the time. It's impossible. Yeah, I remember I wrote a piece back in the day that talked about ideology versus logical debate. And we all know, right? Even the most arrogant person in this chat knows that sometimes you're going to be wrong. Now, the ideologue says we're always right. Our political party is always right. Our political party is always right. The logical debate says, nah, sometimes you're probably wrong. And it's a really healthy thing to always go at some stage, is this one of those times we've got it wrong? Is this one of those times I've got it wrong? Or am I going to die on this hill? You know, so I don't think many of us, don't think many of us would think we've got it right all the time. And it's a good way to go into a conversation to kind of go, is this one of those times I've got it wrong? And remember that thing we often come back to with debate. If you're talking with someone or debating with someone or just toing and froing it, and you ask them, are you prepared to have your mind changed? If they say, no, I'm not, it's pointless. What they're looking for is an argument, not a debate. You know, if you go into a conversation without being prepared at all to have your views at least massaged, then it's pointless. That's actually that's a pointless conversation, you know. So Arvid says Orini support Mariameno too. I saw Orini go live at some stages even, but I didn't watch it. So that's interesting. If that would be interesting if Orini is saying that and she's just become a part of them and she's already supporting Mariameno. And I'm not saying Mariameno is against Deb and Awari, but it certainly says one side of the party is going, you know, the leadership needs to check themselves before they wreck themselves, and she's just come on board if that's where she's at. I'm not suggesting that she's not, but I haven't seen that yet. Kiwi Bird says, error, Te Pāti Māori.exe has stopped working. Wahiki, you do this to me. E hoa ano oe me, TPM, me mahi tahi rato. Just thinking about the way I remember learning rato, tato. Anyway, koe e whawhai, e mua o te motu, owe, shame. I apologize for butchering that, but you do it to me. You do it to me. That TPM overhang would be critical to winning 26. Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Like these other, the political parties are painting TPM as like, you know, how could you work with these guys? These guys can't be in government, and they might end up having that overhang, which might end up being the thing that enables them to actually form a government. Holy crap.
Look, I would just say, if there is a time to have something like this happen, it's now. It's the end of the year. They're going to go into a break. They're going to come back, you know, straight into Waitangi. Hopefully, all of this can be put to bed at that stage. And they come in with a clean slate and a focus. And that's a good thing. If this was happening middle of next year, that's not good. That's not a good time. Nobody's enjoying that. So, you know, there's never a good time, but this is not as bad as it could be.
There's never a good time, but there can be a really bad time, is what you're saying. Yeah. Magenta says, thank you, nice to see in the chat. I think, is this probably supposed to be farce? I think the farce that John, his daughter, her hubby, and Debbie.
Oh, I think that's the fact that John, his daughter, her hubby, and Debbie.
Yeah. Which is concerning. They need more perspectives in that process. Fact. Good one. Yep, got that. Thanks, Magenta. Right, yeah, okay. Just want to say as well, you've probably seen it. Yeah, I'm going to get this right. That one. Oh, shit. Got it wrong. It's above me there in the...
I'm pointing at it. It's okay.
Top of the screen. There is a beautiful QR code. If you haven't done it yet, or if you have and you've got another email, I mean, let's be honest, and you want to vote for us for the New Zealand Podcast Awards of Listener's Choice, then you can just click on that QR code in the top right-hand corner, Big Hearing News or BHN, and they will ask you where you listen to the podcast. Obviously, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify. I think it's perfectly valid for you to put youtube.com/@Big Hairy Network is where you listen to us as well. Yeah, if you want to, that's another way you can support us. We've talked about supporting us tonight. Another way you can support us is awards are a strange thing. They don't mean a lot when it comes to, lots of areas of work, but what they can sometimes do is open doors. So they're good. They're good for opening doors, and they're good for being able to, talk to people who you might not get access to another time. So anyway, hang on. Yeah, got it. The QR code in the top corner there. Or if you're listening to this podcast and you don't know what I'm pointing at, if you're not watching us, then I pointed to the right thing every single time. You can head to nzpodcastawards.com/nominate. Yes. You right, Joe? You still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
I don't like this.
Hello.
I don't like this. I don't.
Yeah,
like
no,
this.
it's weird, isn't it?
I've done this.
Like, okay, the strangest thing is you're talking and I'm still nodding like I would if the camera was on.
I thought you would have
And I'm
taken
like,
all
nobody's
the clothes
looking
off
at
by
me.
now.
That's
That silence was a little bit too long, if I'm going to be honest with you. A little bit too long. I'm just going to have a look because I had to reboot my computer that I've got everything I need. I think I do for this next story, because I'm only doing this story because Chewy wanted me to do. I didn't want to do this story, but Chewy wanted me to do this story. So I had to do it. Chewy's the best.
Oh, it's so good. This has made my evening chat. I'm so happy about this.
So last week, Chewy decided. The truth is, I'm actually quite a lovable chap. Chewy is a shit stirrer and gets us in trouble constantly, whether it's calling Mr. Plunkett the C word and then getting a barrage of one complaint sent to us, inundated with one complaint, or whatever. Chewy brought this video along last week that he had been sent from someone. And Chewy, do you want to just give us in one sentence, when the person said to you, how exactly did they describe it when they said, have you seen?
Yeah, so first of all, shout out to Holly for sending me the clip.
Holly!
Let's actually find the words because it was really good. But yeah, it was before the teachers' strike.
Yep. Yes.
And
have you seen this shit? Is it something like that? Have you seen this shit?
Yes. Have you seen this fucking bullshit? I'm so angry.
All right, let's see what got Holly so angry. And we played this last week. And I'll be honest with you, we kind of mocked it a bit. So this was Duncan Garner prior to the march, the protest, the mass protest by doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters supported them, ACC workers in there as well. The public service, that massive strike by all those people. This was Duncan Garner's prequel to that and his take on it. Oh dear. See, that's why we need a producer. Turn that on. Now we go.
This Thursday's strike is an organised mass sulk. It's a piece of national drama. It's pure theatre. So they can all say, hey, we were there. And there we go. We got the T-shirt as well to prove it. But let's call it what it is. It's organised mass chaos to maximise disruption, to make sure the government and the parents and kids and patients, make sure you feel it and see it and suffer in some way. Make no mistakes, folks. It's not about justice or fairness. This is about making families suffer, about making your day more difficult, about making sure that you miss out on something and giving them a 5-day long weekend. That's what they want. It's also about this, extending Labour weekend. Justified? Hardly. Teachers got 30% increase under Jacinda Ardern. 70% of secondary school teachers now earn above $106,000. Don't come on strong, crying poor. Get back and get some results. Plenty of pay increases, and the results year on year get worse. These are the story of the teachers. Let's call it for what it is, mass organised theatre. This Thursday's strike.
So you'll notice that he was only talking about teachers. Well, that's a good freeze frame. He was never talking about... Oh, he was a bit annoyed that you called him a cunt as well, Chewy, so don't do that again. He didn't talk about the nurses. He didn't talk about the doctors. He didn't talk about the ACC workers. He didn't talk about the public service. And he didn't talk about the firefighters. Although in the clip I'm about to play you, he basically takes responsibility solely, just him, for the firefighters getting their settlement across the line. We'll play that shortly. So that was what we did, and we played that. And we had a bit of a look at it. And we had a bit of a laugh at it because it was worth laughing at. So obviously, I don't know if you got inundated, Chewy, but I got inundated with this clip. Let me show you the title here: "Big Hairy Lies."
Oh, Big Hairy Lies! BHL, that kind of works.
Yeah, that's fine. I quite like it. What they got wrong. Now, I heard you take a breath in there, Chewy. Do you want to say something before I push play, or are you chomping at the bit?
I just want a little bit of context here. We have spoken about Duncan Garner sporadically over the years as we've watched him rebrand this editor-in-chief project that he's got, and what we've watched is his slow slide to the right, chasing traffic.
Was hardly slow. We looked at it at the start of this year, and it went from he's always been. Remember, this is the man who stated publicly he would have voted for Trump over Biden, right? That's the first thing to remember. So he's always been in that camp. Like, even if he's saying because Biden was a cot case, I would have had to, I don't know, but he did state he would have voted for Trump. So he's always been on that more sort of conservative side. But last year, and all you need to do is go and have a look at his YouTube videos, right, to see this. Last year, he obviously had his more conservative than us perspective, and he was doing a left and right and a balanced show sort of thing, and he was not getting cut through. Start off this year, and I remember we showed his YouTube page in our first few weeks back, and like 8 out of the 10 videos he had just done had Te Pāti Māori on the cover, hopefully looking angry if they could, and they were hitting. Like, they were hitting as in they were rating. So he found a little toxic vein of gold, and it wasn't I don't think it was a slow twist. It was like December, January, after the holidays. And he found it and he hit it, and he's been mining that toxic vein of gold for the whole year. And look, if all you're worried about, content creator, is how many views you get, fucking more power to you. Do the worst possible thing that gets the most possible views. Go for it. I don't want to live that life. I much prefer to live the James Coleman experience of life, where he did the best radio show in New Zealand year after year after year, working for Channel Z. Man. Channel Z with the fewest number of audience. It wasn't the focus on the numbers. It was a focus on the quality. And, he's going to make a quip at us being half his size. And this actually goes to show what happened, because last year he had far fewer followers than us. And then he did the stuff around Te Pāti Māori and a whole bunch of it started there, and his numbers just went through the roof. So what there is evidence of on YouTube is a horrific, toxic audience that will sign up to these sorts of things and grow you quickly. That's what is there available, and you can see that with influencers all over the world and content creators all over the world. The right-wing channels all over the world are bigger than the left-wing channels. They just are. And it's the same here in New Zealand. Platform's bigger than us, sure. Garner's bigger than us, sure. Platform took $2 million of investment to get there. Garner took a hard turn to the right to get there. And if that's what they're worried about, the numbers, good on you, boys. I'm worried about a bit more than that. All right. So this is the response. And remember to listen out for the bit that he takes complete responsibility and says it's basically all because of him, Duncan Garner, that the firefighters got their deal over the line with their union.
Duncan Garner.
So my producers have told me that the podcast has been promoted on other podcasts, which I didn't know about. Apparently, that people are loving it, and they're showing it on other podcasts.
Loving it.
It's been highlighted and shown us what the other side looks like. So
Hi, Duncan.
What are they on? Who are these guys?
Hey, Pat.
Yes.
Yes. We've had a great show with some great commentary and some great.
Are we leaving? We finished.
Some really good takes.
Really humble.
Just before we move away from the strike thing for a bit, I just think maybe as a palate cleanser, you need to change your tone, right? We've had great chat.
Oh yes, very humble.
Let's hear the other side.
Just remember, he's about to brag on how big he is, and he's claiming other people who are obviously making jokes are claiming not to be humble. I just remember this. I talk about the audience that have been kicked in the head by a horse or something. He's about to play that.
Because we did get a criticism that we're not being fair and balanced, right? We had good people on with good opinions and good information.
And now it's the brain damaged? Is that the people who are being...
Yeah.
We're not representing the people who have been kicked in the head by horses. We have to be fair and balanced.
Oh, so this is their attempt at trying to be not so militant left wing.
From an idiot.
Okay.
So we've got Duncan Garner. We haven't talked about Duncan Garner for a little while. So
thank you for the promotion.
A friend of
You're
mine
welcome.
sent me this.
You've got friends.
On Facebook going, holy fucking shit, have you seen this? And so I saw it, and now you have to as well.
Say strike is an organised mass sulk. It's a piece of national drama. It's pure theatre. So they can all say, hey, we were there. And there we go. We got the T-shirt as well to prove it. But let's call it what it is. It's organised mass chaos to maximise disruption. Finally, this podcast makes sense. And to parents and kids and patients, make sure you feel it and see it and suffer in some way. Make no mistakes, folks. It's not about justice or fairness. This is about making families suffer. About making your day more difficult, about learn something, boys, and giving them a 5-day long weekend. That's what they want. It's also about this, extending labour weekend. Justified? Hardly. Teachers got 30% increase under Jacinda Ardern. 70% of secondary school teachers now earn above $106,000.
Facts, are they, Duncan? Facts, are they? You're about to challenge us shortly to prove you wrong. Okay.
Don't come on strong, crying poor. Get back and get some results. Plenty of pay increases, and the results year on year get worse. These are sorry, the teachers. Let's call it for what it is: mass organised theatre. Well,
so
there we go.
Can we just ask Duncan a question? What about we even just ignore the teaching stuff? Didn't say anything about nurses there, did he? What about the firefighters?
Didn't say anything about
firefighters.
But
let me just stop it there. Let me just stop these idiots.
Sorry, Chewy. What I'd like for you to do, Chewy, is to be prepared for your lesson now. Duncan Garner is about to educate you. I've been educated because I've seen it. He's about to teach you what we should be doing and what we should know about him.
Yeah. Okay, Duncan. Let's stop them before they bury themselves in their own shit. For a start, no need to drop the C word. Why don't you call me and get me on? I'm quite happy to come on and debate things with you. You guys will know my number, and you're on email. You must have an email by now.
Not Dunedin.
I'm available. Even 2 verse 1. That's probably fair now, isn't it? 2 verse 1. What bit of what I said isn't right?
What?
And on the firefighters, you insult yourselves. I had Steve Devine in there, who's a firefighter. You may want to listen to this. In the Avondale branch, and it got so tough he almost took his own life. And he came on with me for 3 hours. I interviewed him. He broke down. And we finally got the firefighters to the table with the government, and they had a settlement.
What?
Because of the interview we did with Steve.
They had a settlement because of his interview, Chewy. That's why the firefighters got a settlement, because of his interview.
Who's humble now?
Exactly.
Who's humble
calling
now?
me lazy. Why don't you guys get?
Oh, you missed that because you told us we're being lazy. We just got to be careful to get this bit, because being lazy implies you don't do any work. Kind of like Duncan Garner's doing right now when he's throwing out facts and figures that are wrong.
Got us to the table with the government, and they had a settlement because of the interview we did with Steve.
Yeah.
So rather than calling me lazy, why don't you guys get busier, do some homework, and see what I've actually done?
Okay.
And grow up, and I'm available to come on if you're okay. Hey, but by all means, keep promoting me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
What's the name of you got 20,000 subscribers. You're halfway there, boys. Keep trying. Thanks for the publicity.
There you go. There's the you're talking about the arrogance. And look, just let me say one thing, and this is a philosophy I live by. And this is a piece of advice. And Duncan, I'm guessing you're going to see this. So it's a piece of advice. Don't ever brag your numbers. Don't ever brag your numbers. Because then what happens when someone who you're opposing at the moment overtakes you is you look like a fucking goose. Like, it's just not a risk you need to take. Don't put your numbers out there like they mean anything. Because then when you get overtaken, you will be seen as a fraud. Yes, Chewy, I've got lots to show now. The clips and I've got data and stuff, but you go first, sir.
How much money has gone into Duncan's product there, the editor in chief?
I don't know. I mean, who knows? Rover puts it together. I'm not gonna worry too much about that either. I'm not gonna play kind of the pauper.
I'm just saying that the money that goes into this is organic, because it comes from our listeners as 100% organic earned listeners. Maybe it's different for Duncan. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that was interesting actually, because we did a million views, officially a million views on Facebook last month. Well, actually in the previous 4 weeks. And someone said to me in the chat, it's hard to get cut through if you don't do a spend on Facebook. And I'm like, we've never spent a cent. Like, we've never spent a cent on it. And he was a bit like, oh, well, that's actually quite good then. So anyway, so he has said, what bit of this I said wasn't right. So he's saying, prove me wrong. Now, it's hard to prove him wrong on some things because there's a lot of shit take opinions in there. Shall I give you some of the opinions he said? Quote, organize mass chaos to maximize disruption and make sure the government and to parents and kids and patients make sure you feel it and see it and suffer in some way. That was one of his opinions. Hard to prove it wrong. I mean, I disagree with him, but it's not measurable so much. Other things he said about the strike, it's not about justice or fairness. He also said this is about making families suffer. Because, the whole service industry of nurses and doctors and firefighters and fucking teachers, they're all about just how we're going to make these assholes suffer, because that's the ideology they follow, eh? Now, again, can we prove him wrong? We can debate that point, perhaps. He also said that he's saying this to the people about the strike. It's about making your day more difficult. These are direct quotes from that. I've pulled them out, right? He said it's about making you miss out on something. These fucking right-coded, alt-right, right-wing, whatever they want to be, snowflakes. What are you missing out on? It's about you. It's the Reds under the bed. You're going to miss out on something. My God, that child's not doing PE the afternoon at school. Be still my heart. And the other thing, of course, it's about giving them a 5-day long weekend. Now, again, I think, and I'm saying I think, I'm not 100%, but I think some schools, my teenagers didn't have this, but I think some schools had a teacher-only day on Friday. So I think it was like Thursday striking, day off, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Labor Day. Okay, what about the nurses? What about the doctors? What about the firefighters? They didn't have a teacher-only day. Now, those are the things that, you can debate. However, Chewy, these are things that he said, which are measurable. Yeah. Quote, teachers got a 30% increase under Jacinda Ardern. Okay. Quote, 70% of secondary school teachers now earn above $106,000.
Now, am I right in thinking that if we just scrubbed from our brains, as I wish we all could, that these are things that Duncan Garner has said?
Mm.
But these are also things that Judith Collins
I don't know if she said this. I don't know if she said the 70% thing, because I was like, my bullshit nerve went off. Especially because you'll find this funny, Chewy, but a Scale A teacher, a qualified Scale A teacher, their top rate at the moment is about $103,000. So if the most you can earn to be a Scale A, that means you've got no management units, you've got no responsibilities outside the classroom. The most you can earn as a Scale A classroom teacher is $103,000. How that gets to 70% of secondary school teachers earning above $106,000, my bullshit nerve went off. Then I went and tried to research this, and I couldn't find anyone anywhere saying this. Now, maybe I didn't quite do the right Google search. I spent a fair bit of time, but I don't know where that's come from. So let's have a look, shall we? How about we have a look, for example, that teachers got a 30% pay increase under Jacinda Ardern? Well, we've got this thing called the interwebs. And on the interwebs, we can look at secondary school teacher salaries from 1980 to 2024. And on the interwebs, you can see under Jacinda Ardern, year on year, there was a 3.2% increase, there was an 8% increase, there was a 3.5% increase. And this one you can probably give to Jacinda Ardern as well, because it was after Chippy just came in. Let's have a look at exactly, and also I did some numbers on this, Cherry. You'll be interested in it. I didn't make a graph of this. I just wrote them down. So let me read them out to you. So here's something interesting to know. Like left versus right, how do they treat the teachers? Now, if you go back to the last true socialist prime minister, who is
Mr. Rob Muldoon.
He gave them a 15% increase followed by a 14% increase. So he gave them 30% over 2 years. It's pretty amazing. And then basically nothing. Under Rob Muldoon, their average yearly increase was just under 6.5%. Pretty good. Longy comes in. Check that out. Longy gave them a 40% increase.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And under Longy, followed by Palmer, so this is Labor, right? All the way through, they averaged 9.22% increase. So even though Muldoon was pretty generous, they are still under a Labor government, 9.22% interest. Bolger and Shipley, Chewy. You know your faves, Bolger and Shipley through here. Bolger down to Shipley. National government. Well, under a national government, and as you can see, 0%, 0%, 0%. Oh, look, must have been an election year, 7.5%. They average under a national government a 2.4% increase. So you've got national 6.42, Labor 9.22, national 2.4% increase average. That's average per year. And then under Clark, who did the whole 9 years, averaged 3.23%. Global financial crisis in there as well may have impacted it. I don't know, but still higher than the previous national. And then you've got Key coming in. John Key. 2.93, 1.27, 1.04, 0.49. That's just an insult. 212. Under John Key, 1.3% increase. And then under
someone told me 0.49% is your pay increase. Just spit on me. Hit me with bats.
And finally,
drive over me with your car.
Under Ardern and Hipkins, this is an average. It's not the overall, an average of 5.7%. So under Labor, the last 3 Labors, I think, it's been 9.22% increase on average per year. This is on average per year. 9.22%, 3.23%, and 5.7%. Under National for the last 3 terms, it's been 6.42, it's Muldoon, and then it's been 2.4, and then it's been 1.3. So, you know, nothing's perfect, but you can see kind of who's better at it.
He's a little bit out.
He's a little bit out. So Duncan Garner, show me where I'm wrong. What's the quote? What bit of what I said wasn't right? 30% Jacinda Ardern. I'll read this to you. Research from today. Jacinda Ardern was Prime Minister between October 2017 and January 2023. At the start of her term, the top of the trained salary scale for primary and secondary teachers was $78,000. At the end of her term, we were still bargaining the 2023, this is from PPTA, by the way, bargaining the 2023 settlement settled in August 2023. So the top of the scale was from the previous settlement at $90,000. But if we generously carried on into Hipkins' leadership, so still Labor government, the top of the trained scale, salary scale, was just before the 2023 election was 95,400. That's an increase of 22.3%, from 78K to 95K. So Duncan Garner said 30. It wasn't 30. If you are generous enough to include Hipkins, it's 22%. Now, you might still go, shit, that's pretty good. However, according to the Reserve Bank calculator, CPI inflation between Q4 2017 and Q4 2023 was 25.1%. If teacher pay had kept up with inflation, the top of the scale should have been at 97.6 thousand, so 97,600. So they got 22.3%, which still didn't keep up with inflation, which is 25.1%. First of all, not 30%, wrong. Second of all, still didn't keep up with inflation. Next. The claim was 70%. Let's get the claim. Let's get the quote exactly right. 70% of secondary school teachers, it's an important word to use, teachers now earn above $106,000. Facts, Duncan. Top of the salary scale for a trained classroom teacher is $103,086. Now, around 68% of secondary teachers are on the top step. It's pretty close to 70. Nice. This is because it's difficult to recruit new teachers. This is actually a problem. The bulk of the teachers are those with experience who have worked their way up to the top of their scale. So the reason so many teachers are near the top of that scale is because teachers are getting old and new teachers aren't coming on in the numbers they need. However, remember the claim, 70% of secondary school teachers are over $106,000. In general terms, the way to earn higher than the top of the scale is with additional responsibilities, allowances. They're called management units, and middle management allowances. Teachers with those extra allowances are working in management positions. That's not your general classroom teacher salary. The unit or allowance recognizes those extra responsibilities. So 70% of secondary school teachers are not earning over $106,000. If 68% earning 103, you can't make up 70% of the last 32% to give it above 106. Now, what's going to happen is someone's going to come back to us and go splitting hairs. Well, it's 103,000 and then 68. No. It's not the case. That's wrong. Your numbers are wrong. You said what bit of what I said wasn't right. Well, all the bullshit right-coded opinion, in my opinion, was wrong, but they did not get a 30% increase under Jacinda Ardern. They got a 22% increase, and it still didn't keep up with inflation. And they did, and 70% of teachers are not earning over $106,000. Nothing like it. And for the ones who are earning over $106,000, they're not classroom teachers. They're going to have some classroom teaching and some middle management units. So they're not classroom teachers. They're not the teachers. They're the management of the teachers. Chewy, so he wanted us to prove him wrong. We have. Forehand down the line. You're served, Mr. Garner. And actually, if you are the journalist you seem to claim you are, watch what I've done, you said, then this is where you retract and apologize because you don't want any more of this smoke. Trust us. Chewy.
Gather around, children.
Fine.
And look upon the roasted corpse of Duncan Garner. Pour one out if you have one to pour. I don't know. My whole beef with this is just how inflammatory he was in that initial clip. It was rage bait. It was absolutely right-coded news. Like, when we have enough of that,
yeah.
Like, why are you wading into a space that already has Plunkett, that already has Hoskins, that already has Woodham? Like, all of these right-wing commentators are like, yes, I have no understanding of what a teacher does, but I hate them. They're bastards because I have to get a nanny in or something. It's this punching down on people that just really gets my fucking goat. So there's been a couple of comments of like, you've picked a fight with Plunkett, now you've picked a fight with Duncan Garner. Who's next? Mike Hoskins. Let's complete the trifecta.
He's too easy. And
let's go. Let's swing for the king.
There's for Duncan. Just for when he replays it this one, right? Now you got to call him a shit cunt and then we'll sign off for the night.
I've been trying not to say it works. But he is a shit cunt. Yeah. Hi, Duncan.
Look, in all seriousness, did we start this? No, we commented on commentary that we thought was horseshit. He then responded, and we're responding to his response. And you know, have you noticed that we aren't doing Plunkett? You know, Plunkett today was still talking about the BSA. Still talking about it. And remember, and just remember, you talk about why are they competing. Again, Duncan Garner has admitted that he'd vote for Trump. He would have voted for Trump. Duncan Garner fills in on the platform. They are running in those circles.
Head injury.
Yeah, the people who have been kicked in the head by the horse audience. You know, look, I mean, will he respond? Probably. Will we respond to that? I don't know. To be honest, people talk about punching up and punching down, and people mostly talk about punching down, meaning a bigger channel on a smaller channel. But I feel like if you're talking about doing the work, not being lazy, Duncan, like you said, we've just been punching down. Because, you know, the audience that's been kicked in the head by the horse is probably being led. What is it? The one-eyed man is the ruler in the land of the blind or something? Well, you haven't been kicked in the head by the horse. Maybe you just fell off the horse and you're slightly less damaged than them. So maybe we punched down. I apologize.
If he really wants to make it a fair fight, right? All he has to to is the people at Rover and go, hey, look, I've picked a fight that it's got well out of hand. But maybe if Rover gave BHL, Big Hairy Lies, the same budget that I get, then it's a fair fight, and we'll see where it really comes out in the wash.
I think Rover carries us. I've been meaning to message them and say what. I mean, at one stage we said we'd be okay on them, but I think they carry us now. I don't know if we get any uptake there, but I think they actually carry us. I don't know how or why. I've never said go for it at one stage. No,
but look, there's so many right-wing voices in the media. This is where it gets all out of whack, right? This is where let's circle back to what we were talking about at the top of the show. This is where people will absolutely have Nicola Willis's opinions on capital gains tax, even though she clearly doesn't understand what Labour's just put out, will just be hammered into the psyche of every voting age person in New Zealand like a frozen nail of dog piss again and again and again. And then we don't hear another voice in that same space. It is just Duncan Garner, Mike Hoskins, Plunkett, round and round and round and round. All you hear is right-wing voices. And we see what this has done overseas.
I've just come up with the perfect response to this whole thing. So you see we're on Rover. We're on Rover apparently. We are. So now would be a really good time to click the QR code and go and nominate us for a Listener Choice Award at the podcasts. And I've just put into the chat our link to Rover. And you can say where you listen to us is on the Rover app. And then that would get some traction. I think it would be quite funny if we got some nominations that were actually people listening to us on the Rover. I'm sure no one listens to us here because no one publicizes it, but I just think that would be quite funny. But then that's just me being a bit of a sadist. nzpodcastawards.com/nominate. Chink. There we go. Nice. All right, my dude. I mean, prove me wrong.
Funny.
So there's two things about this, right? Let's not necessarily talk about him, but about something he said. People who say things like 70% of secondary school teachers earn over $106,000, they either have done no work to say that, or they're fucking idiots when you realize with one Google search that the top pay scale for a classroom teacher is $103,000. What do they think? That like 3/4 of all the secondary school staff are all middle management to get all these management units on top? Either you're a grifter and you're lying and you're playing to your audience, or you're a moron and haven't done the work. They seem to be the only two possibilities. Anyway.
He's got people to do the work. He's got people to do the work for him. I'm sure.
I don't know too much about that. I'm not going to get into that because I know that they had a big cutback and that kind of stuff, and he might be doing it. He might be just using the facilities and doing it of his own. I don't know.
You can't tell me that Duncan presses his own buttons.
No. But what I'm saying is, it's like I don't. There's no point. I mean, like no shade at all on what you're saying, Drew. But there's no point going down that. Well, look at my money you're spending, because at Rover, like I don't think Bomber does it in the Rover studio. I don't think Rover pays Bomber anything to do it. They just use the space. I'm just saying it's not a platform type thing they're going through there. You know, it could be something. Okay. But they do advertising and that kind of stuff. Obviously, MediaWorks would sell that advertising, I would think. But yeah, not like that. Not it's not like a $2 million of washed public money given to you from a family trust that gets $300 million a year of taxpayers' money to run childcare. It's not that kind of money. All right, let's get to these chats. Kiwi Bird says, Chewy, will you debate Duncan Garner?
That'd be real interesting. I don't hold myself up as a debater.
I think this whole have me on your show. I don't know if I said it when you were here or not, Chewy, but you notice how Plunkett always says things like, "Oh, you can just call." He's never asked us on his show. It's like if you want to engage with us, Garner, When you ask us on your show, come on. Nah, would we come on? Probably. I don't know. But Plunkett's never offered that. I mean, I was thinking at one stage maybe Plunkett would doorstop us. I was always thinking, what would I do if I answered the phone? Hey, you filthy old cunt. What's going on? What's going on?
I think if it came to it, say in this magic world that we end up on Duncan Garner's show where he ends up here, I just had him with a question of like, do you legitimately believe these things that you talk about? Like the way that you spoke about, in this case, teachers, but by association, nurses, junior doctors, firefighters, ACC workers, all of those people that went on strike. Do you believe what you said?
Do you believe that it's about, quote, this is a quote, that it's about making families suffer? Like I know, I'll go so far as to this, Joey. He doesn't believe that. He's talking about okay, here's the irony. Here's the irony. He's talking about, sorry, I've got lots of bursts. He's talking about the strike being theatre, when that line there, and a lot of this is actually complete theatre, because he doesn't believe that, quote, it's about making families suffer. He doesn't believe that, which means he's
no
involved
way that
in
you can believe
theatre.
that. So then I would call to question his personal integrity.
Yep.
Like, because if you're just saying that, and the way that you're saying it, and the stern eyeball right down the camera, hand gestures and all of that sort of thing, which I'm doing, you'll have to take me as read on this. You're chasing clicks.
Yeah.
That's not the measure of someone's personal integrity. Every opinion that I voice on here is something that I believe. So maybe that's the difference. When we talk about whether his show's organic or our one's organic, it's authentic.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's a conversation we should have.
Well, and here's the other thing, and I will stand by this. We've said this before. Sometimes you kind of come to decisions or come to realizations when you're talking. And not too long ago, we were talking about, showing bias in the media and being biased. And I don't give a fuck about bias. I don't give a fuck about being too left or too right. You know what I care about? The only thing I care about is being accurate. Because if you're coming from the right, but you're being accurate with the information, your opinion can be whatever you want. But if the information is accurate, then that's fine. So whether he says it or not, I'm a journalist. No. You're right coded in everything you're saying. Your opinion is coming from the right, but the problem is your facts aren't even accurate. So we can't go, well, at least he's got his facts right. So it's coded right-wing talking points followed by disinformation. That's what that clip just was.
100%.
Yeah.
That's underline that, put it in neon lights, hang it off a billboard. That's what we're about.
All right. DG, Duncan Garner, listening to his own voice again. Arvid says, the only organic DG is cow dung. Here's your grassroots funding point.
Oh, that's good.
Another one. That's a real fucking slam dunk. Duncan? Oh, is that something he does? Have I seen that before? He does the slam dunk.
Oh my God.
Danger of Mouse says, haha, you're talking about me. DG, Duncan Garner. Oh, Duncan Garner's talking about, yeah, right. Duncan Garner says, haha, you're talking about me.
Hey, look, I'm not going to slate him about that because I'm getting a real kick about the fact that we've got under his skin enough to talk about us.
Yeah, I can't imagine him not doing this. Garner is such a fucking hack. As for P dog. And finally, let's wrap up with this one before we say goodnight. Lurchy says, I'm gonna rant. That'll always get our attention if you're gonna rant, because that's what we're about. I'm gonna rant. People's full of support, Eru, Mariameno, and Takuta, pause for a minute, park up for the love of those who are hurt and wonder why. Understand before getting addicted to the drama. I guess we leave that there. It sounds like maybe there's some knowledge there of backroom stuff, because, I mean, because we don't know what's going on there, I'll come back to that idea that, I mean, I think most people would think you handle the stuff behind closed doors, but maybe what we don't know is maybe that's been attempted. Maybe that's been done. Maybe that's been approached and it hasn't got anywhere. So the only next step is to choose to either drop it or go public. Maybe that's where they're at. I don't know. We don't know. So we'll see. All right, Chewy. We just lost Chewy?
No.
Maybe?
Yeah,
That's
my face is
weird.
here.
That is strange. You're looking like see-through at the moment. Can you see yourself on the screen? I can't see you.
And I am normal. I put my human skin suit on properly.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that
shit.
far. Oh, there you are. I see you now. Oh, I missed that face.
Just wanted to prove that I was still clothed.
Because you just put it on. Come on. Come on now. Come on. Just a reminder as well, Whānau, we've got, if you are a patron, I see a few people have signed up tonight. Thank you. Appreciate that. To Matthew, Deborah, and Sarah. You've also got a chance to get those enamels at a special Patreon patron-only price if you're interested. I'll leave that up for a while, that Patreon special. I'm not sure how long. And if you're interested in just having a look at them and getting them, you can go to bhn.nz. They're cool, man. Hey, Chewy, I took a couple over to Chewy last night, but they look freaking dope as. I'm pretty excited.
I'm thinking of putting one on my lanyard at work and to see how long people take to notice that is it too much to have an enamel badge of my own face?
Will it be that one?
It would have to be.
I'm looking forward to the day. Maybe the 6th of December is our Christmas party, Whānau. We'll talk about that more later in the week. I'm looking forward to the day where you're in an orange t-shirt with your face on it, whilst you're drinking out of a coffee cup with your face on it, and perhaps pinned somewhere is your enamel with your face on it. So it's funny you were mentioning tattoos. Should we do a competition one day for a BHN tattoo? We probably shouldn't.
I'm going to leave, actually, since we're talking about the buffer stickers, I'm going to give a shout out to the person in my neighborhood with the blue car that has a rainbow buffer sticker on it. I saw you. I saw you.
In your neighbor. Yeah, I got a message. One of my kids was in Wellington. I got a message went, BHN merch in the wild, which I thought was hilarious. And I'll say again, Hutt Valley, Upper Hutt, Lower Hutt, you guys overrepresent, man. I think of all those, I think I sent about 10, maybe 12 packages out today. And everyone who ordered enamels yesterday and this morning, they're already on the courier because we've got them so I can get them out quickly. And you got, and Hutt Valley representing again 2 or 3 of the kind of 12 packages to Hutt Valley, somewhere in the Hutt. There you go. Nice. All right. I think it's time to go. What do you reckon, Nala? Time to go?
No, it's time.
Should we go? Where do you want to go? I can't tell her where she's going to go. She'll start.
To the park. In the walk. The beach.
She can't hear that because I got my headphones on. Oh. She would if you did it, but I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say park, because if I say park or ball or car, she'll get really excited, and that would be unfair. I'm not going to do that.
Just rotate it all the way around. Yeah.
All right, team. We've got a lovely. I should make sure I've got it hooked up. A lovely new outro tonight because we've got a whole bunch of new. Oh, that's not it. It's that one. I haven't deleted last week's credits. There is a new one here with new people on. Oh, can I also say? And I'm sorry, I'll say it for a third time tonight. I had to do a reboot today of my. Oh shit! Credits aren't working. Oh shit! Did I just hit delete? Oh yeah, no, I've screwed it up. The new credits aren't working, and I've just hit delete with the old credits. Bear with me. Recycle bin, where are you? There you go. And then we go in there, and we go to the credits, and we reinstate. There it is, credits. Sorry, Whānau, your new credits will be up tomorrow. How do we do that? We go restore. There we go, restore. So the old credit's going to come up. I was going to say as well about the people who I said thanks to. We say thanks to. There's also a bunch of people who haven't. Oh shit! Now where's it going? And this is falling apart. You can see why Duncan Garner thinks we're shit. Got nothing organised. Oh, it's that one. Got it. Found it. I think I found it. There are a bunch of people who have also changed tiers, and I want to mention you guys as well. But because my computer went down just before we came on, I couldn't reboot everything and get everyone back up again. There we go. Problem over. Problem over. Avert your eyes. All right, team. That's us. Thanks for being with us tonight. It's been a cracker, and yeah, cheers for giving us content, Garner. And we look forward to your response tomorrow. What did we say? Big hairy lies? What about big hairy losers? That'd work.
It's so many options.
Big hairy nutsack? Oh no, that doesn't work quite so well. I don't know why that's coming out tonight. I do apologize. I'm not entirely sure where all that gas is coming from. All right, Whānau, probably have Craig with us tomorrow night to go over one more time the what's happening with Labour and their announcement today. We didn't have a chance to get to everything we would have with Barb because she only had limited time. Other than that, we'll catch you tomorrow night from 9 p.m. for our live edition of Big Hairy. Oh, I was going to say, should we check if there are any stunts? I was in my stride there. No, that's good. There's no super chats. Hang on. Big Hairy news.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work out what they can afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting bees from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a war puff to run, and linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A and a self and a higher in mind. All have a lean either this way or that, and will be analyzed by both Chewy and Pat. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, 2 nights, they're gonna sing you to bed. It's Big Hairy News.
I was just looking at my notes, Chewy, and because that's what I do, take notes. And I realized I didn't talk about 1923, which we finished over the weekend, or the weather today. When I left North Dunedin, and it was 4.5 degrees, and by the time I got to South Dunedin, it was 12.5 degrees. And then by the time I got back to Central Dunedin, it was 6 degrees, and that was in the space of 2 hours. So I guess
been a bloody day. That's for true.
All right, Whānau. We'll catch you tomorrow from 9 p.m. for the next session. Oh, Big Hairy News. Hooroo.
Cheers, fam.
Thanks, Emily. I'll turn it off now. There you go. Echo cancellation's off now, Whānau. Can you hear it now? Is everybody happy? I'm glad. I'm glad you're all happy.
Sorry, everyone.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry, Emily. Sorry. Sorry, Duncan. Sorry, Duncan. Sorry.
I'm not.
Bye.
No.
Sorry.
Bridge too far.
No?
Sorry.
No. Piss off, Duncan.